So, how's it going? It's Brian here. Uh, my first attempt at this. Right now, we're in the middle of the pandemic. We're all confined to our homes, and I figured I might as well do it now because if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? So, this is where I'm going to count down some of my favorite albums from what I would consider the worst to the best. Uh, I know I got all dressed up for the occasion, as you can see, but I'm going to be 53 in the summer. Like, what difference does it make, right? How much better can it get? Not much. So anyway, a lot of people doing this online. That's because I think a lot of people like to do it, and I gotta train myself to look at the camera and not at myself on here. So I'll try to do that. Um, every now and then you might hear or see my big orange cat, Cooper. He's named after Alice Cooper, oddly enough. That's who I'm doing for my first best or worst to best album list. Like I said, a lot of guys doing this. You can read them online. You can see them here on YouTube. You can see them wherever. A lot of guys, a couple of guys I like a lot here on YouTube. Look for them, check them out. They do a really good job. A lot of opinions when it comes to music, so I figured I might as well throw mine in. Uh, what's it gonna hurt? Right? What's it matter? So, the usual caveat: what I think is great, you might think stinks. What I think is last on the list might be your favorite album. It's all good. Whatever you like is cool, as long as you're listening to the band and you're digging it. No problem with that. Like a lot of opinions. So, why don't we get into this? Alice Cooper. And I have to say that Alice Cooper is clearly by far the artist I've seen most live. I've lost count. It's in the teens probably by now. I never miss a show if he's in the area. And it just seemed like a logical choice to start with. I've been listening since I was 5, 6 years old. The older kids up the street in Westmount, Quebec, where I lived, they would be listening to him, and they'd tell me these crazy stories to go along with songs like Black Juju, and it scared the hell out of me. And then I'd have trouble sleeping at night, and my mom would have to come in and take care of me. Anyway, so let's go. We'll do this list. I got some notes here that I just put down on the floor so that I can kind of look at it. So first on the list, last on the list, let's say, I'm going to go with Dragon Town. Now, there's not an album that I dislike when it comes to Alice Cooper, being a huge fan, but something's got to come in last. And with Alice, it's this one. There's good songs on it. I mean, the first it starts off strong. Trigger Man, Deeper, Dragon Town, Death, Sex, Death, and Money. They're good. It was an era of Alice's career where he was doing this industrial new metal thing that was going on back in you know late 90s, early 2000s. This one's from 2001, and it's just not a sound that I particularly enjoy when it comes to Alice. It's heavy. It's very heavy. It's just not one that I play a lot. I don't really even sit down and say, oh yeah, this is. There's not a lot of melody in the songs, and you can be heavy and still be melodic. And so, Dragon Town. Next, yeah, Welcome to My Nightmare. This is the sequel to, and I just did the air parenthesis air quotes. This is the sequel to Welcome to My Nightmare, Alice's blockbuster album from 1976. Um, it, it's a it's got good songs. Caffeine is good. I'll Bite Your Face Off, the single, that was good. I like Disco Bloodbath Boogie Fever just because it's funny. but um, but it's kind of reliving the past and doing something that you did before. You bring in Bob Ezrin and you're gonna try to recreate something that really, how are you gonna do it? You can't. I mean, it never works. It doesn't really quite work here on this one. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid the glare. Um, but it's good. It's good in that it's got some good songs on it. I'm okay with it. So next, I'm going with Pretty's for You. This is the first album by the Alice Cooper Band, the original Alice Cooper Band. It is very, very raw. Recorded on the Straight label, Frank Zappa's record label. It has just it's weird, and I think I like it a bit because it's weird, but it's really not heavy. It's really not that melodic. Um, it's got one thing it has is that it's got the song Reflected, which is essentially Elected, which you would see later on. A huge hit for Alice. It's pretty much that song. It's just a little bit different, and they reworked it, I guess, later on. But it's just got weird changes in the music. It's Pretty's for You. I like the fact that this was so controversial back when this was first released. Is that the cartoon is lifting up her dress. That's, that's bad. All right. So, following that up, Easy Action. This is the follow-up, second album by the Alice Cooper Band from 1970. 1970, yeah. It's very much similar to Pretty's for You. It's a band that's kind of trying to work its way through where it's trying to go, which it would get to on the next album. But it's advanced. It's a little more advanced musically. I love the song "Shoe Salesman." It's great. The slower songs on here are really the better ones. I like on side two that the song "Refrigerator Heaven," which would pop up later as a lyric in the song "Cold Ethel," another one of Alice's huge hits. So, Easy Action. It doesn't get a huge number of plays here for me, but I like it. It's okay. So next up, this is the one that I think every band that's been around for a long time, every band that has put out tons of albums, or artists that put out tons of albums, have that one album where the fans either love it or they just can't stand it. I don't hate it because I don't hate any of Alice's albums, but put me on the side of, I can do without it. 1983's Dada. It's a cool album cover. It's like Salvador Dali-esque album cover, but it's just it was from from '83. It was the last of what I call Alice's stand-up comic phase of his career, where he did a lot of very short songs with funny lyrics and weird funny lyrics. This one, it's got some good songs, like Enough's Enough is good. Formerly Warmer is weird, but good lyrics. There's good lyrics throughout the album, which is, I think I Love America is funny as hell. So Um, Pass the Gun Around I like, but it's one of a couple of Alice's albums from that era where he says he doesn't remember writing it, he doesn't remember recording it. There was no tour because of his drinking problems and his other substance abuses that he had gotten into at that time. Subsequently, he would go and get himself cleaned up, and he'd come back a few years later with a major comeback. Sorry, I keep looking at myself and not here. I'll work on that. All right, next up. So, from 2017, his most recent studio album, Paranormal. This is, when you get to this point in your career that's been this long, you kind of do, you have it down, right? You know how to do what you do, and you can do good songs even if the album's not your best album. Paranoid Personality is good. I like Rats. I like pretty much all these songs on here. And then you've got a couple of new songs that he did with the original members of the Alice Cooper band who are still alive. They're fun. They're good. But I think you tend to look at later output for bands that you've loved for a long time, and they just kind of don't hit you as hard as other ones. So we're gonna go with this one, yeah. Dirty Diamonds, 2005, yeah. I don't know. There's something about this album that I just never warmed up to a ton. It's a great cover of Pretty Ballerina. The band that originally did it slips my mind at the moment. But the Saga of Jesse Jane I like. Dirty Diamonds, he plays it too now and then in concert. I'm not a big fan of that song. But it's not one of the albums that I play a lot these days. Don't know why. All right. So next up, 2000. It's Brutal Planet. Once again, trying to get rid of the glare. Okay, that's why I'm looking here now, because I was trying to get rid of the glare. I like this one better than I like Dragon Town. And these were the couple of albums that he did, which was kind of more of an industrial, nu metal kind of sound. It's heavy. It's crunchy. It's not all that melodic at times. But I like this one's got better songs. Brutal Planet is good. He still plays that live. Wicked Young Man's good. Blow Me a Kiss is good. Gimme is good. Take It Like a Woman, kind of a slower song. Sorry. So yeah, Brutal Planet. Good effort. I like it. Here's one that a lot of people don't even talk about. I find kind of don't hear a lot of people talk about this one. Alice fans, Along Came a Spider. Alice does a lot of concept albums in his career. He's done a lot of them. Nobody does them better than he does. I'm not a big fan of concept albums in general, unless it's Alice or The Who. I like this. I like a lot of these songs. Wrapped in Silk, I like. One That Got Away. I'm Hungry. Vengeance Is Mine is good. It's a strong album. It's a strong album. I like the story. I like it. All about serial killer. Good Good album. This one I like because I love garage rock, and that's what this is. Sorry, I'm just looking down for a second. From 2003, Eyes of Alice Cooper. I'm kind of done with the whole Alice's eyes on album jackets and stuff thing. Yeah, we get it. He's got the eye thing. We get it. We get it. Um, I like the sound of this. It's very stripped down. It's very garage rock. Novocaine is a great song. I love Novocaine. It's a good song. The song that didn't rhyme makes me laugh. Detroit City. This between high school and old school. But what do you want from me? Good song. I highly recommend this one. It's one that I don't think a lot of Alice Cooper fans or casual fans have heard. I recommend it. Very good. All right. So we're kind of at a line, I think, here where I've had a lot of the newer content, which I think is natural. When you've been a fan for a long time, you tend to like the older material over the newer. So I think we're going to get now into a kind of a section here where you're going to get some older stuff. So, next up, from 1977. I don't know what was going on here, but Lace and Whiskey. Alice decided to do an album. It's another concept album, a kind of a loose concept album where he takes on the persona of a private eye, like a detective. And it's there's the back cover. Great front cover, by the way. I love it. But there's not a lot of big hits on this, but there's a lot of good songs. It's Hot Tonight is fun, Road Rats, and the gigantic monster hit, which I love. I love Alice's ballads. Sorry, I keep looking at myself and not the camera. You and Me, which was a giant hit. I remember being on vacation with my parents the summer where this album came out, and you couldn't put an AM radio station on without sorry, my cat's here. Without hearing You and Me. So yeah, good album. An underrated album here, which is from 1994, Last Temptation. This one snuck up on me. I hadn't heard that he was going to be putting out an album, but next thing I know, I'm walking through a record store and there it is. Concept album again. Concept album came along with 3 comic books by Neil Gaiman. Hope I pronounced his last name right. And it's just good. It's got one of his best songs, Lost in America, which he still plays live. But it's Sideshow, Nothing Sweet. It's just a lot of good songs, good tempo to the album. I put it this high because it just something about it just speaks to me. All right. So we're now kind of getting into I think where we're going to find some people disagreeing with me a lot. I've got Raise Your Fist and Yell. Raise Your Fist and Yell. So this one is 1987. I was actually in college for the first time when this one came out. Really lousy album cover, I'll tell you that. He's had some great album covers, but this one's not one of them. But it's it was an era where Alice kind of got lumped in with the hair metal bands. It's a term that I don't like, but I guess we've all kind of just accepted it at this point. It's got good songs on it though, like Freedom, Lock Me Up. I like Chop Chop Chop. I love Rosa and White Lace, Gale. It's got a lot of good songs, but it's very, very 80s, and I think that it's one of those albums that's maybe not. It's not aging well, I think, with a lot of fans. I don't play it that much these days. I throw it on now and then, and you can tell it's kind of aging. So, but this one here from 1989, Trash. This was the one that came after Raise Your Fist and Yell. And I debated these ones. I debated this one and the next one coming up a bit. This one has a huge hit, Poison, which was a... Sorry, my orange cat is here. And it was... but Poison was a gigantic hit, great song, and he still plays it live. It's again very 80s. House of Fire, Only My Heart Talking, I like it. Bed of Nails, good album, great hit, huge hit. Poison for Alice on that one. So this is where I think maybe there's going to be some controversy, because I think what I see, a lot of people don't like this album. I'm going with Constrictor next. This was the comeback album from 1986. We hadn't seen him since Dada, and this is the album that he made when he came back. His comeback kind of started just before this, where he was on a Twisted Sisters Come Out and Play album, song "Would Be Cruel to Your School." I like a lot of the songs on this. Teenage Frankenstein. I like World Needs Guts, and I love He's Back, the Man Behind the Mask, the theme from the Friday the 13th Part 6, I believe it was. So it's good. Nice comeback. And if anything's going to bring Alice back, I'm going to give it a decent rating. All right, 1978 brings us the next one. This one's From the Inside, another concept album from Alice. This one I have in Mylar, I guess. Great album cover. It's another fancy gatefold. There you go. Yeah, opens up in the back. There's the band. Anyway, I don't want to go too long on this stuff. All written when Alice checked himself into mental institution. What do you call it? I don't know what the politically correct phrase is for it these days. And he wrote this album and these songs based on his experience meeting people in the institution while he was trying to dry out from alcohol. There were no Betty Ford clinics in those days, so. But Serious, great song, great ballad. How You Gonna See Me Now? Jackknife Johnny, Nurse Rosetta, Quiet Room. Wish I Were Born in Beverly Hills. I like virtually everything on this album. It gets a little silly at times, but I like it. I'll put this back in the Mylar later. Okay. Cooper's hanging out. All right. So, 1973, Muscle of Love. This is the original packaging that the album Muscle of Love came in. Open up that much for you. Great album. Packaging. Alice did great. The Alice Cooper Band. This is the Alice Cooper Band. This is their last album as the Alice Cooper Band. Good song. Muscle of Love. Hard-Hearted Alice. Working Up a Sweat. Teenage Lament. Hit. It's a band, though, that you can tell is kind of in its last days as a band. It's not as inspired as previous Alice Cooper Band albums. All right. I can see this is starting to get long. I got to stop talking so much. Excuse me. Next, here we go. 1991. Hey Stupid. Something that people say to me all the time. This is a very, it's a long album, 12 songs, but they're longer songs. The songs are so good though on this one. Hey Stupid, the title track is great. Dangerous Tonight. Feed My Frankenstein. You know what? If I never have to hear Feed My Frankenstein again in concert, I'd be fine with that, Alice. You got so many other songs. Wind Up Toy is good. And one of my favorite Alice Cooper songs, Might As Well Be on Mars. Amazing song. A really good later mid-year album from Alice. Okay, more controversy here because I think a lot of people may be watching and saying, I can't believe that these albums haven't been on his list yet. He's up to the upper third or so. But I love this era of Alice's, which was the kind of new wave, late 70s, early 80s albums. And this one right here, Special Forces, with the lovely portrait of Alice. It says it right here in the liner notes, so we know it is. It's one of those albums from the kind of excuse me, from what I call the stand-up comic phase of his career. Funny lyrics, but good songs. Really short though, really short album. Some barely 30 minutes long. Who Do You Think We Are? You're a Movie. Prettiest Cop on the Block is hilarious. You Look Good in Rags. A great cover of Love's 7 and 7 Is. And right there, if you had the vinyl, you got the mystery song, Look at You Over There Ripping the Sawdust from My Teddy Bear. It's not on the album. It's not on the album. And if you got this album as a kid in 1981, you kept going, where's the song? Where's the song? Why is it on here and it's not? We didn't know what happened until he released his box set, Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper, in the early 2000s, I guess, and explained it was very simple. They printed the album jackets before they decided not to keep the song on the album, and the record company didn't want to reprint all the jackets, so there you go. Next, 1976. I think earlier I mistakenly said Welcome to My Nightmare, 1976. No. Goes to Hell. Concept album. Good concept album. I love this album. It's not heavy. It's certainly not heavy metal. It's got a lot of weird kind of music on it. But Go to Hell, I'm the coolest. I love that. Didn't We Meet? Guilty. That's about the hardest rocking song on the album. Give the Kid a Break, and mega ballad, gigantic ballad. I Never Cry is on this. Love this album. So another from the stand-up comic phase, Flush the Fashion. Great album cover. Love that album cover. Alice looking un-Alice. And when we saw this back in 1980, I believe it is. Yeah. This was shocking. That the transformation. He was thin, he was gaunt, it was, we found out later, it was drugs and alcohol. Again, short, barely 30 minutes long. Talk. Pain is fantastic. Great, some of the best lyrics Alice has ever done. Pain. Aspirin Damage, Dance Yourself to Death. I love that. And Clones, one of his best songs. I love it when I go to a show and he actually plays Clones. Very good album. All right, this might be, but this is going to be the most controversial one, but I love this album, and that is Zipper Catches Skin. 1982. I love the album cover. All the lyrics are on the front cover. This is the funniest lyrics on any album I've ever heard. Like, it's just it's and side two. I love the way it starts. Adaptable, I Like Girls, Remarkably Insincere. Those three songs all together. Very fast, very kind of new wave-ish, funny. It's got I Am the Future, which was the theme song to the movie 1984. So movie, but Zorro's Ascent, good. I recommend this if you haven't heard it. It's worth it. I love it. All right, so we're now up to kind of the point in this list where it's going to be, pretty predictable. What I got. Next one up. Sorry, I'm just checking something in my notes here. 1972. School's Out. Again, fantastic album cover. This one is the desk that pops up. Sorry, I'm not going to take that out, but inside is this contents of the desk, and these pop out. It's like you can put them out and make it look like a desk. It's not that heavy an album. It's just kind of, it's all over the place, but it's good. It's got the classic School's Out. How many times in school did you end your school year hearing School's Out? Alma Mater, Blue Turk, Gutter Cat versus the Jets is kind of weird. Public Animal is a great song. So that's where that comes in. Gonna try to get through these a little faster because I see how it's going so slowly. Next up, $1 Billion Babies. This one had just everything on it, and it's probably one that a lot of bands would have higher. But just the song Elected, $1 Billion Babies, Hello Hooray. It's just Plus, it's got the gate folds and everything going on there. No more Mr. Nice Guy is on this. I mean, come on. Gotta love that one. All right. So, this is the one that really turned Alice into kind of a mainstream, bona fide star. It was after this album that you started to see Alice on the Muppet Show. You started to see him playing golf with Groucho and other things. Welcome to My Nightmare. Fantastic album. Can't take away from the songs. Welcome to My Nightmare. Department of Youth, Cold Ethel, Only Women Bleed, Black Widow. It's just superb. I would talk about it more, but I see just how long this is running. So, great album. Comes in at number 3. All right. So, we're going to go with, at number 2, Killer. With the snake. There you go, Killer. It's just a great album by the Alice Cooper Band, and you just look at this. I just list these songs in order from side 1 and side 2. Under My Wheels, Be My Lover, Halo of Flies, which he still plays, like Desperado. You Drive Me Nervous, Yeah, Dead Babies, Killer. I mean, come on. It's just relentless in how good this album is. And again, fantastic classic album cover. So, if you've been paying any attention, you know what's up. This is number 1 for because I love it. I love it to death. Had to make that joke. Great album cover. This one you can see is well used. I've had this for a very, very long time. Opens up the gatefold, everything. This is, as you do, just like I'm making a list now, I've had my list of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. This one comes in at number 4 all time. Any album, any band. This is the album that got me into the Alice Cooper Band. And Caught in a Dream, my favorite Alice Cooper song, leads it off. I'm 18. It's the first major hit. Ballad of Dwight Fry, Long Way to Go, Black Juju, Is My Body. Just every song on here. Great songs. Great album. And that's number 1. So, I'll try to maybe edit this down a little bit in post and make it a little shorter, because I went on and on and on. It's my first attempt, so be kind. I'll try to figure out why I get so red when I'm doing these, but hey, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you disagree with some of the picks, that's cool. You know, do your own list. Do what I did. Room for everybody. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks.